Welcome back to the 8th day of Spring Navratri, Mahagauri Day, and we're going to do some chanting in the temple. We'll start with Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva, asking him to remove any obstacles that might still be lurking around. I can't imagine, but probably. around the United States for about weeks in a van, and we did bhajan tours, so it's fun to be together again. And if you come here with a van and you put us all in, we're probably available to do another bhajan concert in your area.
Pay us in green smoothies.
So, today is Haidakhandi, one of my favorite days of the week. That's why we're all dressed in red and orange. If you got the memo.
Winning.
What is it?
Winning.
I'm going to read the words myself then. So we'll do number 20. Jai Hanuman, Jai Jai Hanuman.
Jai
Sitaram Bhagwan ki
Jai!
Radha Krishna Bhagwan ki
Jai!
We've done. Okay. How about we sing one to Mother? Any requests?
Is there one that's like Anandama?
Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma.
There you go.
Nailed
Got
it.
it. We got those words down. Just to thank her for all of her love, her grace, her day, bringing us all together for her festival from all over the world. I would say we're pretty lucky children.
Yes.
With a great mother who brings us bliss. I just have to say, when I start looking at you all dancing, I totally forget what my fingers are doing. I have to close my eyes. You're so beautiful.
Well, I will. Gather around, children. Come close.
I'll tell you a story from a long time ago.
A long time ago.
I'll also give a small commercial first, that anybody that wants to join the Billy Bob and Bhajan band. You all seem to do very well with dancing and singing. We'll take applications. So, once again, we're reading from the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. And that's about 1,300 pages. And if you ever want to hear it all read, it's actually on our YouTube channel. We read it every day through the pandemic. So it's been lovely. And I have a shorter version here that I use for the discourses, because I think he says it very beautifully. It's by Ramesh Menon. It's called the Devi Bhagavatam Retold. So we have been hearing story after story, and usually they're prompted by King John Majaya. So this Navratri, we have not talked much about him yet. If some of you remember, we're in the Vainisa Vana, and Sutta is actually telling the story about Veda Vyasa telling the story. So Sutta is asked, most erudite Sutta, when was the Devi Bhagavatam first narrated in this world of men? The Sutta says, it was 36 years after the Mahabharata Yuddha, on the 10th day of which this dark Kali Yuga fell on the earth. Veda Vyasa's grandson, Pandava Emperor Yudhishthira and his brothers heard that their incarnate cousin, Krishna, had left the world. The Pandavas crowned Arjuna's grandson, Parikshit, in Hastinapura, and then they too left this world. For 60 years, King Parikshit ruled wisely, until one fateful day he went hunting in the forest. After a long chase, he finally shot a fine stag with an arrow. But the deer bolted into the dense fauna, and Parikshit chased him a long way in vain. At last, tired and thirsty, he saw a rishi's ashram in the heart of the jungle. Parikshit walked into the hermitage and saw a muni lost in meditation, and he sat on a deerskin spread on the ground. The exhausted king asked, "Can I have some water to drink?" The rishi had taken a vow of moan or silence. It did not say a word or even open his eyes. The king asked him again, "Muni, do you give me some water to drink?" Still the ascetic made no sound or movement. The king saw a dead serpent lying nearby. In anger, he picked it up with his bow, draped it around the silent rishi's shoulders, and stalked out of the ashram. He went home to Hastinapura and thought nothing more about it. But that peaceful rishi had a son called Shringi, who was a quick-tempered young hermit. Some friends told Shringi about that someone had draped a dead snake around the father's neck as he sat in samadhi. Shringi's eyes blazed. Trembling with rage, he took up holy water in his palm and breathed a curse. "Let that man who did this vile thing to my father be bitten by a serpent, Saka, and die a week from today." Another muni who heard him knew by sacred intuition that Shringi had cursed Parikshita, the king. He went to the king the same day and told him what had happened. Parikshita was dismayed, but he was determined not to yield unresisting to Shringi's curse. He ordered a lofty tower to be built, 7 stories tall, to be erected overnight. The king stationed his finest warriors and guards at the entrance to the tower. He also gathered mystics around him, men who knew the occult powers of gemstones, mantras, and healing herbs, and he ensconced himself on the 7th story of that tower. He then sent a muni called Gurmukha to Shringi to beg him to withdraw that curse. Well, day and night, the Brahmins around the king chanted powerful mantras to keep the serpent king, Takshaka, away. Great war elephants also encircled that tower, so no one could get within 1,000 yards of it. Why, they said that not even the air could find its way into Parikshita's tower. The king sat within, counting the days, the very moments. With great composure, he conducted the affairs of state from his tower. It so happened that at this time, a Brahmin called Kashyapa heard about the curse. This Kashyapa had many powerful cities, and he decided that if he saved the king's life, that the king would reward him well. Kashyapa set out for Hastinapura. It was the 6th day of the week that Parikshita had been given to live. Takshaka himself assumed the guise of an old Brahmin and accosted Kashyapa on the road to Hastinapura. The serpent said, "Whence in such a hurry, Brahmana, you will tire yourself out if you run like this." Kashyapa replied, "The king of Hastinapura has been cursed. Takshaka will sting him tomorrow and he will die. But I know the mantra that can quell even Takshaka's venom, and I mean to save the king's life." Takshaka gave a death-rattling laugh. His eyes flashed green, and the shadow of an immense hood loomed over his elderly Brahman's face. The Naga hissed, "Friend Brahmana, I am Takshaka. Do you think you can save Parikshita's life if I sting him?" Kashyapa was proud of his power and said smugly, "Indeed I shall. There's no venom in all of creation that I cannot cure with my mantras. Prove it to me, Brahman. I will sting this banyan tree. Let me see if you can make it live again." "I will easily," said Kashyapa. And a Takshaka became an awesome servant, and darting at the banyan tree, he fastened his fangs like sharpened pillars in his bark. In less than time than it takes to tell, the tree subsided with a sigh, burnt to ashes in Takshaka's venom. Kashyapa gathered those ashes and setting them before him said, "Watch me now, O greatest among serpents." He drew a palmful of water from the nearby stream and murmured his mantras of power over it. Then he sprinkled the water over the mounds of ashes. There was a flash of light, and lo, the banyan tree stood green and alive as before, reaching for the sun with its branches. Takshaka was shaken. He said to Kashyapa, "Most magnificent of Munis, tell me why you mean to save Parikshita's life." Kashyapa said, "If I give back his life, the king will reward me richly." Takshaka promised, "I will give you wealth if you want, if you promise not to go to Hastinapur." Kashyapa fell to thinking, if I accept the serpent's offer, the king will die, and I will gain no punyam from saving his life. Moreover, my fame shall not be known in the world. If I save Parikshita, all the people will rejoice. This is the nobler way. But as he stood deliberating, Kashyapa had a divine insight. He knew beyond doubt that Parikshita's time to die had come, and Takshaka was only the instrument of destiny. That Brahmana accepted the Nagas, the snake's offer, and went home with lots of gold that Takshaka gave him. When Takshaka arrived in Hastinapura on the seventh day, he saw the tower of 7 stories the king had built for himself, and heard that Parikshita was on the 7th level, surrounded by magical herbs and protected by powerful Brahmanas chanting mantras. Moreover, war elephants and legions of highness soldiers guarded the loft sanctuary. The serpent wondered how he would reach the king he must kill, but he had no doubt that he would, for he knew Brahma had ordained that Parikshita would die today, and nothing could save him. Takshaka had not come alone to Hastinapura, but with a complement of his followers. Now his servants all turned themselves into a group of Brahmanas wearing the sacred thread and with ashes smeared on their lofty brows. They had ostensibly brought holy roots and fruits for the king. Takshaka himself became a tiny worm-sized serpent and hid in one of the fruits. The Brahmanas came to the guards of the tower and were stopped by the hefty fellows. The false Munis said, "We have come to save the king from Takshaka. We will chant the sacred mantras so that the serpent will not be able to come near. We have often come to the city of the sons of Bharata, but armed guards have never barred our way before." The guard said, "Come to our Munis, and you shall have free access to the king. Today, no one may go up." The Brahmana said, "Then at least take these roots and fruits to Parikshita and give him our blessings." They gave the dish with all the fruits and roots in it, on which they had brought the fruit and roots, and to the guards and went away. The guards brought the salver up to the 7th story of the tower, and Parikshita ordered the fruits and roots to be given to his ministers who sat with him on the vigil. The king selected just one bright fruit for himself, but as he was about to bite into it, he saw the strangest copper-colored, black-eyed worm crawl out of the flesh. Before he could fling the fruit out of the window, the worm became a 10-hooded takshaka and quick as a streak of lightning held Prakshita, the king, fast. Seeing Takshaka, the ministers fled down the tower. Some even leaped out the windows out of fright. But Prakshita lay helpless in the grips of the serpent coil. Slowly Takshaka fastened his fangs like towers into the Kuru king's throat and killed him in a moment. Then what happened is that his body was so badly burned that they decided they couldn't really do the proper cremation. And so what they did is that they said that it was so blackened that no mantras were chanted because of the manner in which he had died. Later, an effigy of Prakshita was made of kusa grass, and this was cremated on the pyre of sandalwood. When Vedic mantras were intoned, but still things were not right. And shortly over the ancient city of Hastinapura, Parikshita's son was still very small at that time when his father died. But fortunately, there were able ministers in the land who administered the kingdom until this prince, whose name was Janamajaya, came of age. So the king gets sort of cremated, but he wasn't able to do all the proper ceremonies because of the way he had died and because his body was all burnt and blackened. So the boy finally grew up, and when he was 11, his family priest taught him the blessed Gayatri mantra, the seed of all wisdom. Later, the Acharya taught him the use of weapons. There were other wise munis who taught him the Vedas and the Dharma Shastras, and Janamajaya grew into a sovereign, well nigh as accomplished, and just as his granduncle Yudhishthira, who was Dharmadeva's own son. So a few years went by, and the king of Kasi gave his beautiful daughter to Janamajaya to be his queen, as had been the custom between the two noble houses since time immemorial. The young couple lost themselves in tender love, while ministers still ruled the kingdom. Now, it happened that a rishi called Uttanka wanted to get rid of Takshaka. This is the snake, king of the snakes, who infested the forest where he had his ashrams and was the bane of his life. Uttaka arrived at Hastinapura, and Janamajaya received him cordially. When they sat together in the audience of the chamber, the rishi suddenly said, "My lord, king, have you so lost yourself in pleasure that you have forgotten to take revenge on your father's killer? Do you mean to remain a child all your life?" This startled Janamajaya, who wanted to know what he meant. Uttaka said, "You don't even know who your enemy is and the great wrong done to your royal house and your father, which still has not been redressed. Janamajaya, it was the snake, Takshaka, who killed your father. Did you notice?" Janamajaya had been just a child at the time, and no one ever told him the whole story. Now he turned to his ministers, who said, "It is true, Lord. Your father died of a snake bite, and the serpent that bit him was Takshaka." The young man cried, "But I thought my father had died of a Brahmin's curse. What does Takshaka have to do with it?" Uttaka said fervently, "King of kings, it was Takshaka who fulfilled the Brahman's curse. It was he who burned your father high in the air. Haven't you heard that Parikshita's body was so charged with venom that the proper rituals could not be performed for him? Surely your father's spirit cannot be free, but wanders between heaven and earth in torment. Janamajaya had tears in his eyes, and he said, Blessed Uttaka, how can I set my father's spirit free? I will do anything that my father can find peace. I have lived in such delusion, but I will make amends now. Muni, only tell me what I should do. Uttaka replied, You must perform a sarpa yagya, and let all the serpents in the earth be your sacrificial beasts. Let Takshaka himself be offered in your yagya fire, and your father's spirit will find peace. Janamajaya ordered a yagyashala erected on the banks of the Ganga with a hall of 100 pillars. The Agnikund, the fire pit at the heart of that yagyashala, was as large as the crater of a volcano. When the preparations were complete, the kings and his brahmanas arrived there, and the sacred fire was lit whilst sonorous mantras were being chanted. Uttaka was, of course, the chief priest. Oblations of sanctified butter and ghee were poured into the lofty blaze, and the powerful incantations swelled loudly from 1,000 brahmanas' throats. Far away, Takshaka felt the potent mantras snaking out to seize him in subtle ways. He fled in terror to Indra and cried, Lord of the Devas, save my life. Indra saw how the great Nagas trembled. The Deva made Takshaka sit on his own throne and said gently, have no fear. But Uttaka's mantras reached so strongly even into Amarvata, the heavens of the gods, where Indra rules, and sought to seize Takshaka and draw him down into Janamajaya's sacrificial fire. Takshaka fled to the only person left who might save his life. The serpent flew to the feet of Astika, the son of Jarkaru. The youth Astika arrived in Janamajaya's Sarpayaga and utilized the true king, Janamajaya, in exquisite verse. Moved both by the praise of the boy's beauty, Janamajaya said, Tell me what you have come for, and it shall be yours, whatever it is you want. If it is my power, you shall have it. Astika stood radiant before the king and said, Then stop this yagya. Janamajaya could hardly believe his ears, but Astika said again, What I want is that you stop this sarpa yagya. Janamajaya had no choice but to call off the sacrifice, and he sat stricken in the yagyashala of 100 pillars that he erected on the banks of the Ganga. It was there to console the monarch, who grieved for his father's unappeased spirit, that Vedavyasa's disciple related the profound Mahabharata. But after hearing that, still King Janamajaya was disconsolate and turned his solace to Vedavyasa himself, for solace to Vedavyasa himself, who was present there. The young king moaned, Alas, that my father died without honor, died in a snake bite, 7 stories in the air. Vedavyasa, who wrote this book. Vedavyasa Muni, tell me, how will Parikshita, my father's soul, rise into the heavens, and how my own distraught spirit can find some peace? So, this is the story. This is how the Devi Bhagavatam started being told. So, Vedavyasa then begins telling him the whole story, which is the 1,300-page book that we've read over the years. And indeed, by the end of the book, when King Janamajaya followed his instructions of celebrating the Divine Mother's festival of the Navratri, something very wonderful happens. But that's tomorrow's story.
Cliffhanger.
Those of you who might be traveling and not going to have it, it will be live streamed. But I wanted to fill you in because the story is so beautiful. But unless you knew who King Janamajaya was and King Aparikshita, you wouldn't have much context. So there you have the whole context, and you'll see how the Divine Mother saves the day again. Bole Baba Ki Jai! Any questions other than I'm not going to tell you the end of the story. Thank you all. And tomorrow we'll reconvene at 6:15 in Babaji's Kutir for Paduka Puja. And throughout the rest of sadly, the last day of the spring Navratri, which has flown by in many ways and been so blissful, so thank you. Now we'll have darshan of our beautiful mother who is responsible for all this. Jai Mahamaya Ki.
Yay!